Hello, I'm Helen from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest YouTube video. Today I'm going to be sharing a flip through of my Hobonichi pages from May. So as always, I start off with this kind of yearly calendar column, and that's where I set out my 3 tasks that I want to try and focus on throughout the month, kind of my 3 main goals. And then here I write down anything which I know is coming up, or I just jot down what actually happened on that day. And so I have other things usually when I'm looking at months ahead, where I just write down a few notes in pencil until I'm a bit closer to the time. So my monthly calendar for May looks like this. I always use my Patreon printable stickers to just pop in any of the days which don't actually occur on that month. So those were from April, those are for June. And I use this column here to write out everything that I would like to get done throughout the month. It usually starts about here-ish, and then other things come in throughout the month, which I add down here. Anything that I have that is like time sensitive, I then tend to put some purple lines around it to make sure that it stands out on my page. And this is how I'm looking for June so far. So again, I haven't written down YouTube filming today. I knew that's what I was hoping to do, but I will go and add that in this evening when I know exactly the things that I've worked on throughout the course of the day. Again, anything which is time sensitive, I just put some lines around it to make sure that I don't miss it, or anything else that's important that I really want to stand out on my page. And so again, I've then used my Patreon printable stickers there. And the washi tape is from London Gifties. After that, we get to my weekly planner. And I've got little stickers on here just to hide some personal information. So on this side, again, that's where I write down my list for the things that I want to get done during that week. And I typically write this out on either a Saturday or Sunday to help me prepare for the week ahead. And I then use this to try and break down kind of how I'm going to spend the days, what I'm going to be working on in the morning, early afternoon, late afternoon, and just pop those in there. And then at the weekend, I perhaps just jot down a note of what I've been doing, like baking, sewing trousers, taking the Wanderlust class. And that really helps me to get a feel for what I'm going to do over kind of those 5 working days. And I keep exactly the same format really throughout that whole week, through every week of the month. And anything big, like my daughter's birthday, I've just lettered out so that, again, it's just a really nice quick reminder when I'm looking back through my pages from the month. And then after the weeklies, we then get into my daily planning. So again, this is from my printables, and sometimes I use stickers from there, other times London Gifties stickers, all sorts of decorative elements go in here. And this then is my task list for the day. And if it has a cross, I did it. If it has 1 line through it, that means that I started it, and if it's got an arrow, it means I've taken it over onto the next day. If it's a forward arrow, if it's a backward arrow, it usually means that I've actually rescheduled that for a different date entirely, so I just want to take it off my to-do list at that point. And then here I write down, again, I tend to fill this in first thing in the morning of how I want my day to go, but sometimes I actually fill this in as I've done things if I'm not sure how long they're going to take. And then every evening I spend a few minutes just kind of reflecting on that day. So here I've put a focused and productive day. I've set up the new discount code, shared the May journal prompts on Patreon, filmed a new video. So just kind of really just getting down all my thoughts on how the day has gone and perhaps what I'm hoping to focus on the next day. And I stick to that format throughout every day of the month. I just change the decorative elements really that I've used, sometimes doing them in pen and watercolour, or images cut from London Gifties tape, printables, absolutely anything really I fancy on those days. And it partly depends how much space I've got left and how much time I have for adding decoration. So if I'm feeling slightly shorter on time, then I just put in some simple stickers and washi tape. And again, I'll often just letter out key things from those days so that when I look back through, I know the main things that I was doing on each day of the month. And occasionally I'll pop in a little photo. From there we went to a castle. I actually did a whole double page spread on that visit in my creative journal, and also included more photos in my daily journal. But I just really wanted to pop that on there as a quick reminder. As again, that was my daughter's birthday. Not that she was here, she was away working in Sweden, lucky girl. So I held my Patreon monthly live stream on that day. And so whilst my pages are focused mainly on things that I need to get done, there's also loads in there of things that I just want to get done. So I tend to plan in creative projects from hobbies, perhaps some things I want to get done around the home or around the garden. So they all go in here as well. And usually at the weekends I have a lot less that I need to get done. They tend to be more things that I would ideally like to get done. But I certainly try and take the pressure off at the weekend and keep those task lists as kind of low as possible. I also find it quite helpful, so I've got some in here, still feeling a little tired. I try and look for patterns, things that have perhaps affected my energy levels, what they were, if there's anything I can do about that. It might just have been that I had a poor night's sleep, but is it because I've been kind of overcommitting myself with work? Is there something that's on my mind that I could really do with dealing with? Or is there something to do with that particular time in the month that I need to be aware of? And then that helps me with my scheduling decisions for the month that's coming, particularly when you look back over a few months and notice that there sometimes can be these patterns emerging. So that brings us just about to the end of the month. And then we get into my setup for June. And the only thing that I've changed recently is I'm always writing down kind of different creative projects that I want to work on, and it's a reasonably long list. So if I write that on my weekly list, it takes up a lot of space. So now I write down things like creative project, which means that I just want to pick off something off the list and do something towards that. So it might be a page in my altered book, it might be some knitting, I might want to do something in my traveller's notebook journal. So I just have this loose sheet of paper, which I also test out pens on, but just so that I can keep that with me. So when I get to creative projects later today, I can look at this list and pick up something on there that I want to do, or that will depend perhaps on how much time I have free later on today. Well, I really hope you've enjoyed seeing my Hobonichi planner pages, and that maybe it gives you some ideas for your own planning too. As always, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's joined me over on Patreon. Well, thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you're doing really well, and I look forward to speaking with you really soon in my next video.